There are 4,218 PS2 games, and I've got to beat every one of them. I've got to own the game because I'm playing on the original hardware, but I've beefed it up using a RetroTink 5X, some component cables, and more to come soon. Can I do this before I die of old age? I hope so. ATV Offroad Fury 2 was developed by Rainbow Studios and released on November 12, 2002. This is the first in the series to include online play, and it would continue on with number 3 and 4. Featuring even more ATVs and tracks than the first game, it garnered great scores across the board. Can I get enough air to beat this game? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to race an ATV, getting huge air, jumping off jumps, landing, smashing into things, falling off your quad? Well, if you have, look no further. ATV Offroad Fury 2 and all of the games in the series can scratch that itch. And honestly, I had a lot of fun playing it. It's a little bit more of an offbeat racing type game, as there are a lot of very standard racing games like Gran Turismo and even Ridge Racer. The focus in this game is that you focus on jumping off of jumps and landing in a way that will get you extra speed, because you can jump off of a jump and instead of landing on the downside of another ramp, land on the upside where it slows you down a lot. So you need to learn how to drive, corner, and jump to beat everyone in each of the championship races. You have your choice between just doing a fun race, doing some freestyle where you do tricks on your bike, and then championships where you can play in 4 different types of modes: nationals, supercross, enduro, and freestyle. Sadly, there is not a way, as far as I understand, to get credits to show up after you beat a certain amount of things. The credits are available from the beginning of the game in the options menu, along with the 480p resolution setting, which is wonderful. On stream, we decided that playing amateur and pro in each of the championship types, national, supercross, enduro, and freestyle, and getting a trophy awarded to unlock the next thing was enough. Once I hit the very end, then I've got a trophy and everything. The only thing left to do is play everything on expert, which would probably get closer to 100% rather than just beating the game. So I stuck with that, getting a trophy in all of the different championship modes on normal difficulty. Before racing in any of the championship races, you can choose all of the gear that your character has: helmet, gloves, boots, although those don't really necessarily change how you drive. The one thing that does is choosing your quad. Each quad has 3 different stats, and you can change the stats only a little bit. You pretty much play a game of give and take. You take a little bit from acceleration to give to top speed, or you take a little bit from top speed to give to acceleration, and so on. You can make these little choices here and there, although if you buy the most expensive bike, it's usually the best anyway. At least it was for me. It was very quick, the acceleration is high, which seems to be the best thing in this game, since you're going to be jumping and landing and starting off in the middle of a race often. Once you select your gear, you begin to select your championship races, and here are the different types of races. You have supercross, which are short tracks with lots of varying types of jumps and corners. Then you have enduro, which are very, very long open world type races where you follow arrows and try and make it around the track the quickest, even though it's a very long track. Nationals is a mix between both enduro and supercross, having you race a medium length track with a lot of different varying jumps. And the last one is freestyle, which is my least favorite. Freestyle is about performing tricks and completing several different objectives on a specific track. These tracks are part of the open world tracks from the enduro section. The first thing you can do is pick one of 2 targets that you collect: a green target or a red target. The green targets are easy and increase the amount of time you have to collect the rest of the green targets, as there is a time limit. The red ones are very high up in the air, and there are less, but none of them increase your time. You must take that small amount of time, learn where the jumps are, and jump up high enough to get each of the targets. Then you have another requirement where you must complete a certain amount of combos, up to 10 combos in a section to complete the objective. The next part is getting certain scores. These are almost like playing a stage in the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, although you must select the specific objective you want to complete, and you only can complete that objective. I found myself really enjoying this racing game. It does have something a little different. At the very bottom right corner of the screen while you are racing, you can see a small pill graphic that will fill up with 2 different colors, blue and orange. Blue means that you are on a jump. Once you are on the jump, you can pull back on the left analog stick, and as you reach the crest of the jump, jam it forward as hard as you can. If you've done it correctly, the bar will fill with orange. The more orange you have, have, the more air you get. The less orange you have, you will still get some air. It's better than not doing any of that, because if you don't push anything forward or backwards, you just jump off the jump at a normal speed. But adding in that extra ability to force your character to jump further allows you to place yourself in specific spots during a race. So if you are taking a huge jump next to a corner, maybe you don't do it at all, because if you're gonna have to take the corner and you jump too high and far, you'll fly right out of the racetrack, as opposed to maybe a small jump that will allow you to get over the top of a bigger one and ramp on the other side to get speed. You have a lot of choices when you're making these jumps and racing these tracks. You have a lot of different tracks to race, as well as each of these different types of championship races has completely different tracks. I mean, the Nationals has a set of tracks, the Supercross has its own set of tracks, and the Enduro has its own set of tracks. You'll get to see a lot of environments and a lot of different types of races as you play this game, and it's fantastic. The racing, like I said, is wonderful. The one thing that is not wonderful, however, is the freestyle mode. I don't really like doing the tricks in this game. They are a little bit more difficult, as when you are coming up to a jump, you need to get tons of air. While you're in the air to perform a trick, you press either triangle or circle, or both, then you press and hold L1, maybe you don't, and you also need to press a direction to get a move to come out. There are plenty of different moves, so quite a few actually. The problem is that there's just a lot to do the moves in the air, as well as landing and coming off the jump in the first place. It takes a lot of focus to do the tricks, and in this mode you aren't even racing. In the freestyle mode you do not race. It's all about the tricks. The problem is that you are timed for all of the different objectives that you need to do. When you're performing tricks, you can very easily fall off your bike for a number of reasons. 1, you held the trick too long. 2, you've done too many tricks and you don't have enough room to land. 3, you don't land well. It's just too difficult to get the tricks to come out the way you want them to for someone to just play casually. It really isn't that fun. I did get bronze trophies on both, but man, it just took so long and was very frustrating. You only have about 2 minutes. If you fall off your bike twice, there's really no reason to continue going. You should restart, because you probably don't have enough time after falling off that many times to get enough points to be able to finish the objective. Honestly, when you get off of your bike and you have to get back on, it will spawn you at the very part of the jump that made you crash. So if you are coming down a big ramp and you ramp off and you crash, you will just start at the crest of that ramp and you're kind of just stuck there. You have to either back way up or go over it and try and find another jump. This wastes tons of time. It's not just you falling off your bike. It's the fact that they don't place you somewhere helpful, which, I mean, I guess that makes sense. They're just trying to put you at the last place you were at. It just doesn't help us. I do recommend this game if you want a different kind of racing game, one that you might find a little more fun than just Gran Turismo or any of those types of games. You get an interesting experience doing jumps and getting huge air. The tricks can be fun for some people. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. And with that, I'm going to end it here, because the video you see above is what you're going to play if you get the game. There isn't anything extra or special along with all of these races, except for a waypoint editor. I did not mess with that, and the online is not something I think you can play anymore, but it's still really fun to play solo. And there it is, folks, game number 56 beaten. We've beaten a lot of games since I hit 50 and since the beginning of this year. It's pretty crazy, and we're going to get even more. There's a couple more games that are already done. I've been playing a lot of shorter games, so it's just going to be like that. However, at the end of the video here, I want to thank everyone who watched this video and everyone who comes into the streams. It's a lot of fun. It's extremely fun because there's just so much to see. There's so many games and so many types. And now that I'm playing Japanese games on top of it, I can play any language of games. It's just a fun time. At this point, most of the games I'm playing are being picked by people who are winning drawings, who are donating, and who are on the Patreon and YouTube memberships, which I will mention here. On the Patreon side, we have Johnny Baghead, Jay Hank, Lucas Nicholas, James Fan, Hypervertus, Valerie, T-Roy, and Delaney. On the YouTube side, we have Cameron Higgins, Lucidity Dark, Rocket, Ilka, Uranium Donut, Zooming Zorark, Peplo, and Delaney. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate all of this, and I hope one day we get to finish this challenge in about 60 years. So we'll be back again for a new video very soon about downhill domination. See you next time.